Lesson 13 is one of the most important. If you get a grasp of this, you're really going to understand and be able to maximize the reach of, how many people see your podcast. What we're going to be going over here is selecting which sound bites to drop into the sequences that you've already created. So we've got sequences, for Instagram, for YouTube, etc. And when we're editing the podcast now and switching between these camera angles, we're trying to find 10 to 60 second clips that are going to work really well. And we're going to cut those. You're going to learn how to cut those. You're going to learn how to paste them into these different sequences. And those are going to be what ends up, being and becoming these viral clips. So pay attention. Let's get started with, where are we at? Lesson 13. Let's go. So we're back in Premiere Pro. We have edited 2 minutes of this podcast, switching between camera angles. And what I want to do is highlight a specific clip that we can use for social media. All right. So if you've noticed, YouTube Shorts, IG Stories, IG Reels, TikTok videos, they're all short. We can't post our entire 2-hour podcast on them, but what we can do is we need to select the right clips that will get the most amount of views, that will bring an audience back to our podcast to increase our views, right? So here's the clip that I think will work best, and I'm curious what you guys think. I'm going to press I to select the start point.
Power training is looking at force times velocity. And when we're talking about force, we're talking about maximal muscle recruitment or maximal energy production in the shortest amount of time. And velocity is adding the speed with a directional component.
Boom, that's it. All right. So what I would want to do is go ahead, I and O, right? Select that clip. It's only 16 seconds. I can go ahead, press C or select my razor tool by clicking on it, and just cut that clip. Make some cuts there. All right. Now I can grab my selection tool. I can select it all. I can come up, click Edit Copy or Control C, and I can go ahead and click on my story, IG, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn sequence that we made previously, and I can come up and paste it or Control V to paste it. And now you can see that I have dropped this in a new sequence. Okay. And later, I can drag this so it's all, her, for example. Later, I can come up to the effects control panel here and I can change the size. I can change the position, right? And I can add subtitles, change the color, and turn this into a viral video. Okay, so I can also grab these clips, press Control Copy again, and I can drag and drop it into all of my sequences. Again, we can highlight it and I can come back. Let's say we wanted to change the size, because this is a different size of video. And we'll go over this in a later section on this exact course, but we are going to do this and drop it in all of our sequences. Okay. And again, you don't need to know exactly what I'm doing here in the effects controls. But we want to just get it into all of our sequences. Okay, so we have it in our Instagram, we dropped it in our story, and then we're going to keep editing. So we're 2 minutes in. We already have one potential clip for social media. All right, this is a 40-minute podcast. We can drag this endpoint out to the end, 36-minute podcast, okay? You've seen how I switch between camera angles, when I'm using camera angle 1, 2, 3, and how to actually find now, cut and take clips and drop them into all these different sequences, right? That is how we're going to continue editing this podcast. So I am going to go through, I'm going to edit this footage. It's probably going to take me, about an hour to get through 36 minutes. If you're just starting out, it might take you 4 hours to get through a 30-minute podcast. It might take you 5 hours, but just go slow. Use the razor tool to cut your clips. You can use the selection tool to drag your clips, right? You can use the eyeball toggle to, hide clips if you want to look for different people's facial expressions. And go back and review and watch any of the videos in this program if you get confused about any of the steps. You also have a backup version of your entire project. If for any reason, at any point in time, the audio starts not matching the video, well, you have that backup version that you can pull from and kind of unscrew yourself, so to say, and just kind of get back to normal so that you can start editing the podcast with synchronized audio and video. So I'm going to edit this. I'm going to be back and we will see how many story videos that I pulled, Instagram videos that I pulled, vertical videos that I pulled. The other thing that you can do is you can pull longer YouTube videos. So, of course, Joe Rogan made this extremely popular with having 2 to 15-minute videos from sections of his podcast about specific topics. So if you want to do that as well, you could create a new sequence just titled YouTube videos. And you're going to want to leave the sequence settings the exact same as they are in this sequence that you're working off of. So if you're doing HD video, that's going to be 1920 by 1080 here. Square pixels at 1. If you're doing 4K, that's going to be 3840 by 2160. Leave it as is, and you're just going to press OK. All right. So you have all these different sequences. So feel free to do that as well if you want to. I know it's a lot. It's going to take some good time, but this is how we're going to get 100,000 views on each podcast episode.